Okay, we just got done creating the users table. We inserted in our first record. Now let's go back to the PHP code and re-implement this login. So at first we tested for hard-coded a string. Now we're going to connect to the database and then check the username and password in the database. So you see a lot of commented code here. We're going to uncomment this code. And we're going to get this code to work. So in the previous lecture, we talked about having a DB config file. Now the DB config file will hold the credentials. That way I don't have to type the username and password on each page. And in addition, I can restrict this config file to only open for this code. That way people, if they were to able to hack into the server, it may be a little bit more secure. That way your username and password is not listed all over the code. Let's open up this DB config and make sure everything's configured correctly. So I'll come back, you'll see ... So it's back in directory, and here the file is, db.config. I'll open this up. Now in the config file, it's just a PHP script. Now the PHP script has the DB host, which is localhost, the DB user. Now this user we created last time in the previous lecture. We also set the password for that user. I set it as my name, and I recommended you to set it as yours. And then the database name is CS2830. Make sure you remember this password, otherwise you won't be, this code will not be able to work. Going back to the login.php, after I have the credentials, I'm going to try to connect to the database. This connection requires 4 parameters: the host, the user, the password, and the database name. Remember, in MySQL, you always need to select the database first, even when you're using PHP. Now, when I do this new connection, the connection results will be stored in this variable. And there's a lot of results, like whether there was a connection error, what the connection error's number was. If I want to run queries, I'll run it off this variable here. So this variable is very important and holds all the data to that connection, the connection to the database. It holds all the data that I've connected when connecting to the database. This variable here holds all the connection state data after I've connected to the database. And we'll check for errors. Was I able to connect or not? Okay, we're going to do an exit here. Okay, we're going to exit. So we're just going to test this code. Usually it's good to program in increment steps. So first, try to connect to the database. If I can connect to the database, then we'll proceed. It's not a good idea to have a bunch of code here, try to run it all at once and not know where the bug is. So just do step at a time. Let's first connect to the database. So I'll update this code on the server, come to the browser, go to that project folder. So go to your domain, then to the lectures folder, database with PHP. We're going to be in DBLogin, and we're going to run login.php. So here I'm just going to type some data, random data, click on submit, and you'll see here there's no error message. So we should have successfully connected. If you really want to test, you can put it else here. Else, and just do a print. Successfully connected to the database. Okay, make sure you add your semicolon, save it, upload it to the server, refresh the page, and you should get that success message. Now, you'll only get the success message as long as your credentials are correct, and as long as that database is created, and as long as you've created the username and password, which we did in the previous video. If you don't have the success message, go back to the previous video and make sure you connect that user. Now, after we've successfully connected, we can go ahead and create a query. So I'm going to create a query, and all I'm going to do is a select. I'm going to select, and it doesn't matter what I select. Let's say I just select the ID from users, and I'll explain why it doesn't matter, where username is equal to the username that we passed up, and password, in the database we called it user password, since password was a keyword, and we'll compare that to the password that we synced up using the form. Now what I like to do is I usually print this query out and exit. I'll print this query out, make sure the query is correct, and then continue to execute that query. So let's print this out and see if we can run this query in MySQL Workbench. I'll upload the code to the server, come back to the browser, do a refresh. Okay, here's my query. I'm going to do a copy. And I'm going to paste it in MySQL Workbench and then put a semicolon at the end. If I can run this statement, the query is successful, but I'm not able to run the statement. We look at the statement, we get some error here. It says error code, unknown column test in the where clause. Well, test was supposed to be a value. Username is going to be stored as a string or a varchar. So I actually need to add quotes here. Double or single, doesn't matter. Once I add quotes and then try to run the query again, we'll see if it works. If I do run, you'll see I got the green arrow, but it selected nothing because the password is incorrect. But at least the query is correct. So I'll come back to the code. I'm going to add quotes here. Now what PHP programmers like to do is alternate the quotes. So I'll do double quotes on the outside of the string and single quotes on the inside of the string. Okay, here's my double quotes. I can do single quotes on the inside, and PHP will treat these single quotes as part of the string. If I do double quotes here, I end the string, and I need to do concatenation. But I still need to put the single quotes here, okay, because MySQL requires a single quote. So what PHP programmers like to do is mix the single and double quotes. Put double or single on the outside, and then the opposite, double or single on the inside. Okay, so I put quotes. I know this will work, but we can run it to make sure. Okay, you always run the query, make sure the query is successful, print it out, copy and paste it, put it in MySQL Workbench, put a semicolon and run it. If the query will run, then you can continue. So the query runs. Now I formatted my query correctly, and I'll continue with actually executing the query. If you continue to the next video, we'll execute the query and determine what the results are.